All right, I'll sell it to you for 10 grand.
No deal.
No deal? All right, guys, no deal on the final offer. All right,
I'll sell to you for 10 grand. Now, in the English-speaking world, when we talk about money, we use grand instead of thousand, okay? That doesn't mean we can't use thousand, but if you want to sound more natural, more like you really understand the English language, then use grand instead of thousand. How much did you pay for that car? 20 grand. Grand is such a great word, and it really demonstrates that you know English quite well. It's a bit on the informal side, but remember, English is an informal language. So $10,000? Nah, 10 grand. Alright, homie's looking pretty good in the 1930s. But there's something we can learn here, and it's actually a mistake. So whoever created this whole filter and this whole trend made a massive mistake, and now it's potentially hurting many people's English because it says how I would look like in the 1930s. This tells me whoever created this filter isn't actually an English native, because this is a mistake. We don't say how I would look like. We have two options. What I would look like. That's better. What I would look like. Not how I would look like. What I would look like. Or how I would look. No like. We cannot say how I would look like. How something looks like. Two options. What something looks like or how something looks. So whoever created this actually messed up a lot of people's English. This is wrong. I would say what I would look like in the 1930s. And I don't think it's this guy's fault. I think it's whoever created this text and filter and the trend. So what I would look like. Remember, it's about what you look like, not how you look like. That's a mistake.
100,000 dirhams. 21,400 English pounds. Guys, this is what I took out of the ATM machine. You could never do that in the UK. The UK is finished. Come to Dubai, baby.
First of all, what can we learn? We don't always have to say 100 or 100,000. He said 100,000. So you can always say instead of 100, 100, 100,000, 100 million, 100 eggs. Okay, so 100,000 dirhams or however many pounds. Okay, then he went on to actually say the UK is finished. So this guy, he's actually from the UK and he moved to Dubai. I used to live in the UK. I moved to Poland. And I will also say the UK is finished. I will say the same thing. And it's really funny, this kind of evolution that people go through. It's like there's always levels to understanding of something. There's a lot of people who grow up in Poland and then they say, Poland's finished. Let's move to the UK. And they think, you know, that's the better life. But it's very funny because then the people who grew up in the UK, they are right now coming to the conclusion that the UK is done. The UK is finished. And it's in a bad way if you don't understand. It's finished. So it's very interesting that people move to the UK for a better life, but people from the UK are moving out because they're realizing that it's actually not the place to be anymore and it's finished. And I came to the same conclusion. So sometimes you have to really kind of mature to a conclusion, to some viewpoint. And I think I matured to this viewpoint that the UK is actually finished and Poland is a better place to live, at least for me being Polish. It's my language is spoken here, but there you go. A UK guy moved to Dubai, the UK is finished, and I agree.
Right, Polish food is absolutely what you need in this weather. I love it. I only ever had pierogi in the past, so I was really excited to try more. We had this beautiful, it was like a beef stroganoff with some sour cream in this crusty bread, some croquette with sauerkraut and mushroom with this, what do you call it, borscht? Something like that. It's like a beetroot soup. Then we got like a chicken schnitzel with some roast potatoes.
There you go. I mean, she said borscht, and I think in the English-speaking world, we do call it borscht, but in Polish at least, it's barszcz, barszcz. And I had to play this video just to shout out to my Polish roots and Polish culture, Polish food, Polish cuisine. By the way, we say cuisine, Italian cuisine, Polish cuisine. A lot of Polish people say kitchen because in Polish we say Polska kuchnia, but it's actually cuisine. Shout out to Polish cuisine, man. Barszcz, krokiety, goulash, pierogi, all of this stuff, delicious stuff. And shout out to her for actually showing some love. And this looks like a restaurant in London, so actually that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Ready? I'm ready. Oh wait, the ball is empty. It's deflated. Deflated. Can we inflate it? Inflated. Do you have the...
Nah. That's cap, which means that's not true. That's slang. That's a lie. And I don't think she's ever really been in this situation in English, because this is a very textbook, too formal way of saying the ball is deflated, let's inflate it. Remember, English, football is played on the playground. That's an informal situation. I've been on the pitch, I've been outside kicking ball with the boys, and I can assure you that no one says, the ball is deflated, let's inflate it. If someone said that, he'd get a smack to the face. In English, we say, the ball's flat, it's flat, let's pump it up, let's pump it up. So I don't think she really has been in this situation. This is way too formal, way too textbook. This ain't real, this is not real, this is not authentic. It's flat, the ball's flat, let's pump it up. But, nice try.
You have absolutely no sympathy for the Palestinian killing because
that's not true at all. Don't put words in my way.
No, seriously.
So I don't know if he actually said don't put words in my way. Everyone watch out, guys, always, because these new captions and AI captions, they are not always correct. And in these videos, we will be fixing that. I will be correcting captions sometimes. But this is a very nice English phrase. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth. That means I didn't say that. Don't say I said that. You're twisting my words, you're putting words in my mouth. So if someone ever is kind of lying and saying you said something but you didn't, you can always say, hey, don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth. Looking at the sky, looking at the sunset, looking at her eyes. There are two things we can learn from this little carousel, or whatever you call it. We always say look at, looking at. So this is correct English. A lot of Polish people say looking on, because in the Polish language we use the word on, patrzeć na. But in English we always look at something, we look at someone. So it's beautiful, looking at the sky, looking at the sunset. But the last one, I would actually correct it, because what he's doing here, this is a very passionate, full of romance, full of love. He's looking in her eyes. He's actually looking in her eyes. Looking at her eyes is not good enough here, because this is love. And when you love someone, you don't look at them, you look in them. You look in their eyes. So we can learn two things here. We normally look at things, but if we look eyes, we look in someone's eyes. We look in someone's eyes. Bang! I think that's enough English for today. Let me know if you learned something. In fact, why don't you drop a comment of exactly what you learned today, and if you like this style of me teaching and of you learning. We're using content, but you've also got a teacher to help you and tell you what to focus on, what's a mistake, because there's a lot of mistakes on social media in English. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's correct English, okay? Drop a like and I'll see you on the next one. Baby!